Greek legend, the Parthenon, and Chryselephantine. They speak, and not without reason, of the beauty of women born in the Greek lands and islands, of such astonishing loveliness that, inspired by their charms, the arts and culture reached the most unthinkable extremes. Legend has it that Persephone's Chryselephantine, the goddess of underworld love, to whom a demigod had once administered an aphrodisiac, was scorned by an Ephebi who could not meet her desires nor withstand her advances. In the end, he turned to drink and other substances to escape her. Such were the immense erotic demands of the goddess, who required multiple couplings a day without fail. From early childhood, she had been demanding and lustful. Even young boys would flee from her presence. After this great disappointment, the goddess began to devise elaborate thoughts and learned the arts of whisper music and dance to attract new lovers and try a different one each day so long as there were men left in Hellenic soil. During the warm sunsets, the goddess would begin to sing and sway. Her voice was a call to the nearby people, to whom seasoned youths were perhaps the most susceptible. So potent and enchanting was her song that men could barely resist her charms or her melodies. Aware of this fixation, the goddess welcomed them into her spacious porticos. There, they feasted on delicacies served on golden platters inlaid with gems, attended by tiny nymphs and chimeras, and poured libations to Bacchus. Each time one of the Ephebes arrived upon the plain, Persephones wove whispering songs and danced tirelessly until they surrendered one by one as she mounted them with compulsive hunger. During the dance, her eyes would blaze with an intense azure glow. The Ephebes seemed to be wrapped in a perfumed cloud, brewed in the heart of Athens. Her fingers traced their bodies with deep grooves like spider legs, gluing them to the ground. Priestesses with tambourines echoed the syncopated movements of the dance, while others played lyres, and flutes mimicked the whispers of goddess and lover. Meanwhile, the muscles of the captives grew rigid on the stone steps, fused to the marble by a viscous substance, like webbing, from which they could not escape. Some tried to flee. Few succeeded. These passionate encounters were one-time combustions, and the spellbound Ephebe could no longer drift away from the foot of the stairs. The cries during copulation attracted more and more young men from the provinces beyond. In the early days, up to 20 Ephebes stood in vigil, waiting their turn. Later, such was the popular conviction that sex with the goddess was cosmic and monumental. Persephone's breasts were as fierce and unyielding as stone, and at the same time addictive, that crowds of Ephebes swarmed the hillside. Some old locals began scheming and even profiting by selling fake entrance passes. Once the known citizens had been consumed, and to sample broader-shouldered men, the goddess roamed plazas and hills, inflamed and out of her mind, like a bacchante at the peak of sacrifice. She began calling out to any creature resembling a man, only to find an old man, a dog, or a horse answering her. Her rage at finding no more men for her personal offering caused her to curse so furiously that the clouds grew thick with black shadows and storms. A terrible curse emerged from her mouth. Thunder and lightning churned the land with such force that all feared a flood that would drown the fertile valleys and even the hills. The men, already consumed by the feral goddess, remained anchored to the marble steps against their will, stuck to the stone by a sticky substance that clung like spider silk. From the Parthenon, whose staircases had barely been laid for lack of stone, immense obelisks began to rise. The phallic members of each young lover began to grow and petrify, reaching unimaginable proportions, 10 meters tall and nearly 2 wide. Plasterers, artisans, and stoneworkers appeared as if from nowhere to shape these marble obelisks. For years, the labor left the city exhausted, and its citizens, weary of Persephones, began to invoke other gods and goddesses to liberate them from the insatiable lover and her misdeeds. Then, seeing such beauty in the Parthenon, they were struck dumb and overwhelmed and no longer wished to leave, just like the lovers before them. As many as 46 lovers were transformed by the goddess' strength and sorcery into beautiful marble columns, where they remain forever beneath a splendid pediment. At the center of the building rose, flanked by the columns and cherubim, the noble statue of Persephone's chryselephantine, made of gold and ivory. Postscript. The first of Phoebe, the one who fled, who drowned his shame in drink. Do you remember him? He died while searching for gold and diamonds in a barren field on the outskirts of Athens.